Well, this evening we are gathered in this momentous occasion as our second daughter has graduated from high school and is embarking on a new season into higher learning education. And as her parents, we wanted to take some time and to just invest and pour into our daughter. And Kira, I just wanted to share a couple things with you, sweetheart. And there's a scripture that's in Deuteronomy 28, and I really want to read it 1 through 2. It says, "Now shall come to pass, if you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully his commandments, which I command you, to that the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the earth. And all these things shall come upon you and overtake you, because you obey the voice of the Lord your God." That translation, overtake, means to take you by surprise, having the unexpected take place in your life. And there's three things that I know that as you're planning your journey, which is your plan, there's God's plan, and then there's the unexpected surprise plan. There's a movie, and I know you know this, that Mom really likes, and it is entitled Mr. Holland's Opus with Richard Dreyfuss. And it is a story of this music teacher who has high aspirations to one day compose and lead a national orchestra to play a composition of his. And he ends up finding himself at a local high school teaching a bunch of students who are very intermediate in their skills. But he only thinks it's going to be there for a short time. And so, because he's dealing with the realities of life, and how many of us grown folks know that sometimes those reality things happen about paying the bills and a roof over your head and supplying our daily needs are tangible things that need to be accomplished. And so all of a sudden, his plan was to stay there a short season, and he ends up staying there for 30 plus years. And during that time, he and his wife had a little boy, and unfortunately that boy was born deaf. And Mr. Holland thought that there would never be an opportunity for his son to hear one of his compositions. And then he just settles into life, realizing that he perhaps would never have an opportunity to compose this great music with a phenomenal orchestra and find his name on Broadway or on a program. It's close to his retirement, and all those students who have now gone on to have careers and families of their own and aspirations that they've been able to fulfill come back and do this big celebration for him. And a student who then was the mayor of the city, she comes to him and she says, "We are your orchestra, we are your opus, and lead us. We are your composition." And so, baby, I know that you are on a journey where you are taking the different pieces of life as your composition, as your opus. And I want to encourage you that you just always have your hand out, and God will place all the right pieces and the nuggets that you need as he continues to grow and develop you on this trajectory of greatness that you're on. There are three key things that happened during your lifetime of 18 years that I've been able to experience with you that I think speaks to really your heart and your character. And the first story is when you were about 5 years old and you were riding your bike and in front of the house, and there was an area that your dad instructed you not to go down that sidewalk because it was all dirt and they were just trying to get ready to lay some pavement on there to finish the sidewalk out. And so, like kids tend to do, right? You want to be adventurous. You went out riding the bike and went into the area you weren't supposed to, and you fell over and you came running up to the house with your bike and you were crying in tears uncontrollably. We ran out because we thought you had hurt yourself, and you were trying to figure out why you were crying. Why were you crying? And you said, because my bike is broke. My bike is broke. And so your dad pulled out a hose and he rinsed the bike off to show you that it was really brand new, and you were in awe because you thought that the bike had broken. See, sometimes in this journey called life, there'll be moments where we fall down and we think that we are broken. But I want to encourage you, just like how Daddy rinsed that bike off and you got back on it to ride, that you take life experiences and hurdles and twists and turns as an opportunity to give you a platform to speak from about things that you've had to overcome. The other story I want to share is when you were about in third or fourth grade, there were we came to pick you up from school, and there were some kids that had ice cream bars, and your friends were all hanging around, but you didn't have an ice cream bar. And your dad and I said, well, why don't you have any ice cream? You said, well, this boy, he gave all the kids ice cream and I didn't get one. And so then we kind of inquired a little bit more. Well, why didn't you get an ice cream bar? And you said, well, he actually took those ice cream bars from the cafeteria and he offered me one, but I didn't take it because I didn't think it was right. How astute that this third, fourth grader that you were had the integrity to not participate in what was the wrong thing. The other story I want to share was how you were helpful and led some of your students as a youth leader to participate in a community called our Go Projects to be able to feed those that were less fortunate, and your heart to serve. It's these nuggets and these characters that you have possessed ever since you were a little girl that is going to allow God to bring you to this platform that you are going to impact the world. And these are little pieces, these are little notes for the composition that God is going to write and continue to illustrate about your life and everything that He has for you. This is the beginning of your opus. And I pray that you continue to have a surrendered heart and a surrendered posture where your hands are open for God to place whatever He desires for you to do. And that as a little girl, that you remember that as many times as you may fall, you just get back up again. And that you will always remember to walk with integrity and purity. And the third thing is to always keep God first and to serve Him and to serve others, and you will do well. We're so proud of all your wonderful accomplishments, and I can't wait to see how your journey continues to